Now we come to the main event of the evening. I have one thing to say about Walter versus Tyler Bate. Magnifique. What a fucking deal. And they went 45 minutes, and to me, it was shorter than the whole fucking, well, I guess it would be. It was shorter than the whole All Elite Wrestling pay-per-view. But it was shorter than any particular match on the All Elite show because it was good. And it wasn't the same speed all the way through. They had ebbs and flows and peaks and valleys, and they took people on a ride. And the little guy had to struggle, and finally he'd get the advantage, but he couldn't keep it. And the big mean man would put him down again and waltz him across Texas, make him sell like he was going to the electric chair. And then somewhere or another, he'd be overconfident, or he'd make a mistake, or the little guy was just too smart. It was classic big man, little man, pro wrestling psychology. I could have done without the crowd singing. I know that's a fucking UK thing. I don't know what the fuck they were saying or what was going on. But both guys, Tyler Bate is small, but he has a physical charisma, and he looks great like an athlete. And he looks young, but not like a fucking high school kid. And then I've said Walter before, I love this fucking guy. The facials, the look, the entrance music, and the body language, and just the attitude he has. And the chant, Walter is a wanker, right? That was fucking great. But Tyler Bate is strong as fuck. You can tell, even though he looks small and he looks young, you can also tell he's a badass athlete because he's strong as hell and he can show it. He bridged with Walter on top of him. But at the same time, whenever Tyler Bate would get the flurry going, Walter would just headlock him and shut him down, or just because he was so big. He's got those fucking paws and those long arms. And they built to a spot where finally Tyler barely got him over at a body slam and the place came unglued. Right? And a simple thing as that, because they built to it properly. And then Walter goes to slam Tyler Bate, and Tyler Bate hangs on like a fucking monkey, and he can't fucking throw him down. There was different shit. All through that match, Walter manhandled the kid, but the kid was always still in it. And that's an art, and Walter knows his shit. I would assume Walter was leading this particular expedition. The buckle bomb into the ring post I thought was a little drastic, but they teased a stoppage or teased a count out. If it had been the AEW show, it would have been a spot, and if they'd have done a cover, they'd have kicked out on one. But Walter, he has that way of imposing his physical will on you, like a Gene Kiniski. He looks like a fucking just a big raw bone fuck with those arms, and you can tell he's strong without being a fucking, a muscle-bound bodybuilder. His pacing and his timing and the instinct he's got to do shit is excellent. And even when some guys might be tempted to start speeding up or start rushing or whatever, he just walks around the ring and he takes his time and he surveys the people. And that fucking surfboard he gets on, guys, with the long arms and the long legs and just the look, and especially him being so much taller and bigger than Tyler Bate, it looked like those matches where Andre would get that surfboard on a guy, and it would look like he was wrenching the shoulders out of his sockets. Then the chops. What the fuck? His hands just have the design to, displace that much oxygen or whatever the fuck when he hits somebody. They're so big, they're like paws. When they would do even a big move, like Tyler Bate one time gave him the flip suplex, blockbuster, whatever, off the apron to the floor, and it looked great, but they both sold it. And they still, if you went back and watched, they weren't coming off the top rope, they were coming off the apron. It's how flat they landed, the noise they made, and the way they sold it. But all through this match, stuff was different. Tyler Bates' last comeback, really, flurry was different, and lots of this stuff, especially Walter, you can tell has his own style, but they did different shit. And finally, that second when Tyler Bate finally suplexed him, the place exploded again. The only thing I didn't like was when they'd get up on the top rope. I don't mean as far as Walter did a big splash off the top for his size was great. I don't mean when they did stuff over. I mean when they both get up on the top rope and it's like they're jockeying for position.
Yeah.
And one guy's going to superplex the other guy and the other guy's no. But you can tell they're cooperating because there's no law. The loss of balance would be so easy to cause if somebody was really trying to do something. I don't want them both climbing around up there because that takes me out of the credibility of the moment, especially with Walter. He didn't need to be up there. But the false finishes had the people. That spot where Walter got knocked out, but as Bate fell down, Walter fell backwards on him, and he's so big, Tyler Bate can't get out from under him to cover him. That was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
They kept it going back and forth logically. It was good the whole way.
Even like that spot where he would run to the ropes and dive onto Walter, and he would sell his back. He would hold his back as he was trying to run the ropes. Like, that was great. A little thing, but that was great.
But all the little things are what makes it look like it makes sense to your brain, even when you're trying not to. Just the goofy shit and just the repetitive same tempo shit. Finally, just you get numb or it just looks goofy and cooperative. But when they have the pace and the flow and the story and it makes sense to your mind, you have an easier time looking over things that you might see that take you out of it. When Tyler Bate, he Germaned him with a bridge, which was good enough, but then they did the old Flair double bridge spot that Rick always liked to throw in about 45 minutes in. But they did it with Walter that big and that size difference. And then he hit that fucking, what do they call it? The Tiger Driver. Nigel went mental. Like I said, that big splash that Walter did, he hit him with a splash and he kicked out. Then he hit him with a power bomb and he kicked out. Then he hit him with that big lariat 1, 2, 3. Now that's the way to get somebody over in losing. Because yes, he hit him with a big splash and he kicked out. And yes, he hit him with a good looking power bomb and he kicked out. But he didn't kick out of those things and then come back and do offensive shit to Walter. And then Walter had to stop him down again and hit something. It was, bam, I hit you with this, couldn't get it. Bam, I hit you with this, couldn't get it. You motherfucker, that lariat, boom, it was too much. But how tough can this kid be to take all that? That's the way you left the people thinking. This was the right way to do it. and honestly, as good as, and I don't watch a lot of wrestling, but as good as I thought Cody and Dustin was as a bloody grudge match exhibition of pro wrestling, this was as good an athletic exhibition of a pro wrestling contest as I've seen in a long time.
I thought this is the best match I've seen at least all year, maybe in a few years. And, you know, the one compliment I can give them, because we've talked so much lately about shows running long and, you know, on the AEW show, the show ran long, but every match was over 20 minutes, or at least felt like it. This match kept going, and the longer it went, the more I got into it.
Yeah. Because that's what they're trying for, but they don't understand. When everybody's, oh, we'll go 30 minutes. Well, just automatically going 30 minutes doesn't mean it's going to be a classic. Doesn't mean it's going to be great. You have to go 30 minutes or 40 minutes where the people are more excited and more into it as it goes on. And that means that they can't see the same shit, same style of shit, same speed of shit, same tempo of shit, same flavor of shit over and over, done back and forth endlessly for 40 minutes. There needs to be the peaks and valleys and the ebbs and flows and the little fucking escape in the nick of time and the chance to get respite and the story and the fucking, it needs to unfold and get more people gradually more and more gripped instead of just, we're going to do all this shit and they're going to go holy shit all over the place.
And you could say so much about the fans and the singing. Like you said, that's a local thing over there, although I'm sure they'll start doing it here in America anytime now because they see it over there.
Are you kidding? This bunch of fucking non-tune carrying much of American fucks over here could never pull off a group sing like that with the same words and the same tempo just on the fly. You're out of your mind. Anyway, go ahead.
But what was cool is, you know, I'm assuming all of these fans know that wrestling's a work. And they're all there to watch wrestling, but they're not invested in it to the point where they're going to jump the rail and attack someone if their favorite guy loses. With that said, they wanted Tyler Bate to win. They were cheering for Tyler Bate that whole match. They really wanted him to win, and that emotion just lent so much to the match. And it was perfect. The ending was perfect. The match was perfect. Excellent. Excellent all the way around. Just excellent.
And Walter's such a great heel because look at him.
Fantastic.
Look at that fucking face. And he's such a big bully and he's so condescending.
And he would have been a great heel in any era. He would have fit in.
Yeah.
In the 70s, in the 60s, he would have fit in.
Oh, I can see it in any territory. He would have been a star in any territory at any point in time. Anyway, you know what we need to do now, don't you?
I don't know. Place bets on football games.
No, well, we need to do that at MyBookie, but we need to finish the show because nobody's listening by this point because I've said a bunch of good stuff about people and praised something, and nobody's going to listen to that.
No, that's not how it works. They listen, but they don't hear the positive stuff.
So it's not the listening that needs help, but it's the hearing of the stuff. Okay.